Hello, Justices. Thank you both for being here. We have Justice Scalia and Breyer to answer a few questions about their views on constitutional interpretation. So I would like to start with a question for you both. If you could both please quickly identify the method of constitutional interpretation that you adhere to. Justice Breyer, could you go first for us?
Yes, I'm Justice Stephen Breyer. I was appointed to the Supreme Court by President Bill Clinton in 1994, and I follow the belief that the Constitution is a living document.
Thank you. Justice Scalia?
Hi, I'm Justice Antonin Scalia. I was appointed by President Ronald Reagan in 1982, and I am a textualist. I view the Constitution as a work of art. It's about the finished product and not what the artist originally intended. Therefore, it's a justice's job to apply the cases to the document as it was written.
Thank you. And we'll stick with you for our first question, or our first question for you, which is, can you elaborate on the flaws or limitations of interpreting the Constitution as a living document?
Yes, well, I do believe that interpretation and inference from the written words are important, and they may extend beyond the wording of the document. Modern courts who subscribe to the living Constitution ideology have a habit of construing the document in order to add rights and restrictions suited to the modern world. However, historically, particularly in the past 35 years, the evolving of the Constitution has imposed a vast array of new restraints, new inflexibilities upon administrative, judicial, and legislative action. The power to make necessary changes to the Constitution has been abused in modern times, as the idea of the living Constitution has been used to push agendas.
Thank you. Justice Breyer, what do you believe is the essential or fundamental principle that the Constitution strives to uphold?
I believe that we must ground ourselves in the purposes of the document, which is to create a framework for democratic government, a government that, while protecting basic human rights, permits citizens to govern themselves and to govern themselves effectively. These purposes of the Constitution must be framed within new contexts and situations that the framers had never seen before, calling upon an understanding of consequences through upholding the spirit of liberty that is addressed in the document.
Thank you. Justice Scalia, what do you believe is the functional purpose of the Constitution?
The whole purpose of the Constitution is to prevent change. It's to embed certain rights in such a manner that future generations cannot readily take them away. For example, the Second Amendment, which it states in the Constitution that we have the right to bear arms. However, there are many trying to take that away right now.
And Justice Breyer, what check do you believe exists for the court in its actions in this method of focusing on purposes, values, and consequences that you believe in? How is this possible and how does this work?
First and foremost, a judge must know when to observe judicial restraint. In so doing, this method of interpreting the Constitution allows for an assessment of the beliefs for the public good rather than the fixed notions of textualism or originalism. The most important check for the court would lie in the people who we represent. Although the court is separate from the legislative and executive branches due to our method of appointment, this does not separate us from the checks and balances of these branches and therefore the people who elected these officials who then appointed us. We must take into account public well-being through this method of interpretation to provide judicial security to communities while limiting social unrest.
Thank you. And Justice Scalia, if not through the interpretation of a living Constitution like Justice Breyer advocates for, how then should change be made to the Constitution?
Well, the Constitution was created in a way where change was expected. The framers knew that in the future there would be a need to add to the original document, and therefore they created a process of amending the Constitution. There's an outline explanation of how amendments should go through the House and Senate in order to be put in place. Today's courts and cases are used as a way of bending the document to the will of the judges. I believe that the Constitution must be updated as the situation arises. However, it must go through the House and Senate as an amendment and not a ruling of the court to change the body of the Constitution.
Thank you. And for our final question, Justice Breyer, why do you believe that the level of subjectivity, perhaps inevitable subjectivity within your preferred method of interpretation, is more favorable than the subjectivity inherent of a literalist method of interpretation?
Yeah, so the framers did not specifically say what factors the judges should take into account when interpreting. So a literalist views cases within a vacuum, and therefore a decision is not only subjective, but also unclear, lacking transparency about the factors that the judge considers truly significant, because we do not know how, we do not know the original intent or what words to emphasize or how to explain double meanings in words.
Thank you so much. Thank you both, justices, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.